The King Street pin said I was worthless trash while revealing his entire operation until he found out who I was. I'd been working as a private investigator for 8 years when the police department called me in for a special contract. They needed someone who wasn't a cop, someone who could go places their officers couldn't. My bread and butter was usually cheating spouses and insurance fraud, but this was different. This was big. The target was Marcus Jackson, a mid-level dealer who'd been running his operation on the east side for 6 years. The police had tried everything, but Jackson could smell cops from a mile away. 3 undercover officers had already failed. 1 ended up in the hospital, so they hired me to do what cops couldn't: get close without the cop smell. I became Danny, a desperate guy who just lost his warehouse job. I let my beard grow wild, wore the same stained clothes for days, and practiced the shuffle of a beaten man. The department's tech guys gave me a wire built into my belt buckle and a panic button hidden in my shoe. They paid me triple my usual rate because Jackson had a reputation for handling problems permanently. I found Jackson's crew at Big Mike's barbershop and begged for any work. Jackson laughed at this pathetic loser willing to do anything for $50 a day. He hired me to wash his cars and fetch his food. The first week was a test. He left $500 visible while I cleaned his Escalade. When I didn't touch it, he decided I was harmless. That's when Jackson started treating me like his personal diary. While I mopped his floors and cleaned his cars, he'd tell me everything. His Atlanta connection, who sent 20 units of product monthly, the $200,000 flowing through his car wash, beauty salon, and check cashing business, his 15 street dealers and 5 stash houses. He thought I was too pathetic to be a threat, too scared to ever talk. To prove his point, he showed me a photo on his phone. A man lying still with 2 holes in his chest. Jackson explained this was someone who'd tried moving on his territory in 2019. One of his cops had made the body disappear. The message was clear. Jackson's confidence grew each week. He'd count money in front of me, explaining which badges he owned. 2 patrol officers got $5,000 monthly. Some assistant at the courthouse got $10,000 to lose evidence. He'd wave his piece around while talking, sometimes pointing it at me just to watch me flinch. One night, he made me sit in his basement while he cut his product, showed me exactly how he mixed it to triple profits, kept a blade on the table the whole time, running his finger along the edge while staring at me. He wanted me to know that he knew where I lived, that he'd looked up my family, my sister on Maple Street. The threats became his favorite game. He described what happened to snitches while I scrubbed his toilet, how they found one guy in pieces scattered across the city, how another's family had mysterious accidents. He called me worthless trash so often that his crew started using it too. I was Danny the trash man, too weak to matter. Jackson got so comfortable he brought me to meetings with suppliers. He'd introduce me as his pet coward who knew everything but was too scared to talk. They'd laugh while discussing shipment schedules and distribution routes right in front of me. My wire caught every word. After 3 months, I had everything: names, dates, locations, murder confessions, corruption details. The department moved fast. The raids hit at dawn. 50 officers stormed every location simultaneously. Jackson was halfway through his eggs when they kicked down his door. Even in handcuffs, he stayed cocky. His lawyers would destroy this case like all the others. At the station, Jackson kept demanding answers. How did they find his stash houses? Who talked? Which of his boys flipped? That's when I walked in without my disguise. Jackson's face went from confusion to shock as Detective Hayes made the introduction. Ryan Torres, private investigator. 3 months of recordings. I pressed play. Jackson's own voice filled the room, describing murders and drug shipments, naming dirty cops, explaining his entire operation. Every boast he'd made while I mopped his floors. Every threat he'd whispered while I washed his cars. Every crime he'd confessed because he thought I was just worthless Danny. His legs buckled. The man who'd pointed weapons at me for 3 months suddenly couldn't stand. The king of the east side was just another criminal with too big a mouth. Jackson got 40 years. His operation crumbled within days. 23 arrests, over $1 million seized, 2 corrupt officers in handcuffs, the courthouse assistant in custody, 5 stash houses shut down, 15 dealers rounded up. At sentencing, the judge quoted Jackson's favorite phrase about me being worthless trash who knew my place. Mr. Torres certainly did know his place, the judge said, recording every word while you confess to your crimes. 40 years should give you time to reconsider who's truly worthless. Jackson stared at me as they led him away. The trash man had taken out the garbage.